Hello, everyone. Welcome to Veteran Uncensored. The CIA reading Tucker Carlson's messages, his texts, in order to frame him. Can this be possible, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Veteran Uncensored. Once again, my name is Chris Rodriguez. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know what you think in the comment section down below. So we were going to do a video reacting to Tucker's and Piers Morgan's interview with a lot of good hot takes from that interview, which we might still do, by the way, because it is very relevant. But Tucker Carlson, not too long ago, putting out a video sharing some rather disturbing news about what the CIA might be trying to do, according to what he's saying. Let's not waste any more time and get right to it and see what he had to say.
So the other day I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, acting as an agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch of reasons. One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. Unlike a lot of people commenting on U.S. politics and global affairs, I have only one loyalty, and that's the United States, and have never acted against it. Its interests are the only interests I care about because I'm from here and I have a lot of kids. So that's not a concern. I've also never taken money from anybody. Don't need it, don't want it. And that's provable. And moreover, it's my job to talk to everybody all the time and try and figure out what's happening around the world. That's literally what I do for a living. And I'm not going to stop doing that. Nor should I don't think. I'm also an American. I can talk to anybody. I have no secrets to divulge. So legally, I think the case is ludicrous, and I doubt it will even become a case. I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons, though, and they're pretty obvious. One is that countries tend to become more authoritarian in wartime. It's just the nature of war. People are dying. The stakes are high. People's emotions have risen to a very high point, to a crescendo. And so there's much less tolerance for any kind of dissent in the homeland. The irony, of course, is the United States fights wars on behalf of freedom, but there's always less of it here in our country during war. So that's a widely recognized phenomenon, and it's likely to happen now too. Another point to make that is worth knowing is that the USIC, the intelligence agency, spy on Americans. Now, you probably knew that, and it's been revealed a lot, including by Julian Assange and Ed Snowden, both of whom are threatened with death for revealing it, but everyone knows. But it's probably a little more widespread than most people understand, and it's outrageous. There's no justification for your government, which you own, you're a shareholder in it, you pay for it, to be violating your privacy like this. But it happens all the time. And in fact, one of the reasons that CIA or people within CIA, just to be clear, it's a huge, sprawling, disconnected agency. What it does in a specific case doesn't represent what everybody in the building thinks, but there are some people who are mad at me for my views about Israel. And they have some latitude. And one of the reasons they pass on criminal complaints, in effect, to law enforcement is to justify warrants for spying on Americans. So that is an absolutely real thing. But the main reason they do it is to leak the existence of the investigation, such as it is, to the media, and then humiliate and terrify the subjects of this op. And that's, of course, happened to me repeatedly, many times, including in famously 2021, when I was still at Fox News and trying to set up an interview with Vladimir Putin. And the NSA, I heard from someone there, had grabbed my text messages with an American citizen and had leaked them to news outlets. Those texts were basically my attempts to set up an interview with the foreign head of state, and they leaked them to the New York Times in order to stop the interview, which they successfully did, by the way. And they admitted that they were spying on me. This is not a fantasy. It actually happened. They did it again 2 years later. My second attempt to get a Putin interview, I managed to get it anyway, and they've done it since. And so when you get a call from a reporter who knows the contents of your texts, it's pretty clear something's going on. None of this, in my judgment, as of right now, is a huge threat to me. So I'm not making this video to complain about it or whine or ask you to send me money because I'm under attack. I'm saying it because it's true, and you should know what your own government is doing, and you should know what the stakes are. And you should know that a lot of what happens in this country that affects outcomes happens behind the scenes. Some of it is legal, some of it is not, including what I'm describing now. But it has an effect. And the intel agencies, again, not everyone in the intel agencies, because there are decent, hardworking Americans who work in the intel agencies are Americans, just like there are decent, hardworking Americans who work at the DMV. But there are also people with agendas and grudges and no sense of restraint who are happy to misuse the power they have, granted them by our elaborate secrecy laws, to hurt fellow Americans for ideological reasons. That is entirely real. That's the story of Russiagate. And it's likely that things like that will begin to happen at greater scale now. So you should just know that going forward. Thanks.
Wow. Very, very, very weird. Very raw. I mean, I feel bad for him. I do. I don't know that I necessarily agree with everything that he says. I'm actually trying to dive deeper into who Tucker Carlson is. I always known he was a journalist, what he is, and an anchor at Fox. And for some reason, I try to deviate myself, or just put space between me and him and watch other channels. I don't know why. Maybe because I was following and listening the agendas and the narratives out there. And then I started listening to him, and I feel like, wow, I agree in a lot of what he says. And I was watching this interview with Piers Morgan, which we're probably going to do at some point when it comes to reacting to those hot takes, because there are some interesting things that he says that are not what the narrative is out there of him. And it's interesting to know and to actually take the time to listen closely to these things before you make a judgment on this particular person. But the fact that this is what's happening right now to him is very disturbing, to say the least. Very disturbing. The government getting in your text messages, diving into your personal life, has to be an infringement of your freedom. Now, of course, they're going to have to present this as, something legal and something that they have probable cause of getting warrants for his text messages and so on and so forth. So I'm assuming there will be some legality, some legal paperwork behind this, masked, if you will, under the law, in order for them to do this. He says is because just more or less to scare him, and this is not the first time they've done that. And we're getting into some murky waters here. I mean, the simple fact that he is being judged on these things that he's saying, again, you don't have to agree with him, but why is his freedom of speech being jeopardized and scrutinized based on his political takes? And to be honest, I don't see on what he says that is inflammatory or anything out of the ordinary for an American citizen to just voice his opinions on. Matter of fact, there's a lot of other people that say very, very, very inflammatory things on social media, on YouTube, and nothing happens to them because maybe they follow the narrative and they follow the agenda. But it's disturbing. I mean, we were ready to do a video on the other interview that he did with Piers Morgan, and then this video popped up, and we quickly had to adjust. I don't know what to think. Let me know in the comment section down below, because it's going to be very, very, very interesting where this goes. And quite honestly, I feel bad for him, because why should he be subjected to this? I know Laura Loomer has accused him of taking money from Qatar, and accused him of, and she says a lot of crazy, crazy stuff, by the way. Very, very inflammatory stuff towards Muslims, towards many people that don't believe like her. And this is not a knock against her, but if you are a person of God, if you are a person that follows what America is about, you certainly don't do propaganda for hate. That's certainly not what God wanted for us or Jesus Christ. So we shouldn't do that. Of course, you want what America is all about. America is based on Christianity. It is, whether people want to admit it or not. We are a Christian country. And, well, for the vast majority. And I know that there are some people that are here that want to infringe with that. But so is this, if it is true that they did all of this, to get in Tucker Carlson's privacy and masking it with the law. And doing all this is pretty disturbing. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Of course, Anna Kasparian, who I'm not a fan of, to be honest, because she's just a lot to listen to. Really, I mean, she's a lot, and I'm not a fan of her, to be honest. And just as there is hate towards people or freedom of speech, she absolutely hates Israel and everybody in it. I mean, you can tell by the way she speaks. And that's just blatantly obvious. But she's coming out saying that, quoting this is extremely disturbing. Cenk Uygur here as well, who doesn't ever want to say clearly, unequivocally that the regime is evil and the Iranian regime should be gone, because they should be gone and not in power of a country, and they should be free to express themselves and be free to do as they see fit. He struggles saying that point, but he doesn't struggle blaming or criticizing, borderline hating Israel, which, by the way, I think that there's a lot of criticism towards Israel that they deserve, to be fair. And Netanyahu certainly probably doesn't want the war to stop because he doesn't want to face justice in Israel. But regardless, Cenk is saying this: if Tucker Carlson is actually arrested, the government will have crossed the Rubicon. Whatever ridiculous charges they bring up, everyone will know the real reason was that he opposed the war in Israel. He'll be considered the first American political prisoner within our own country. Listen, I don't think this is going to go anywhere in this particular case. Even Tucker Carlson doesn't think that anything is gonna come off of it. But at the end of the day, it's still very disturbing, to be honest. So I do agree with them on that point. And imagine being the family of Tucker Carlson, the kids, the wife, the parents. Dad has passed away from, according to the interview with Piers Morgan. But I'm not sure about the mom. But regardless, the whole family. Imagine dealing with this on a daily basis. The guy's just trying to do his job. So was Charlie Kirk, and he was assassinated. And that is the part of this whole situation that I don't agree with Anna Kasparian, because she today called for Netanyahu to get killed. And I mean, what is this? We're calling for political violence to stop on all aisles and from all sides, and then you calling for somebody to get killed. What if somebody called for her to get killed? Which I'm not saying that it hasn't happened, but at the end of the day, we have to lower the rhetoric. We have to lower the rhetoric. There are certain lines that we can't cross. Infringing with freedom of speech and freedom of the press and freedom of saying whatever you want to say, as long as it's in a legal manner, you're not doing anything illegal. We have to lower the rhetoric. We have to lower the rhetoric. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This is Chris Rodriguez, the veteran uncensored. And thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would like to interact with you in the comment section.